Coming up next on Adventurer, arguably the greatest women's tennis player of all time. At least that's what Billie Jean King says after the break. Clash, James Clash. Welcome to Adventurer, the show with guests who truly push their lives to the limits. No talking heads here like some other shows, just the real deals. I'm your host, Jim Clash. Today's guest is arguably the greatest women's tennis player. During her multi-decade career, Martina Navratilova won 18 Grand Slam singles titles, half of them at Wimbledon. She's here today to remind us that May is National Tennis Month and to discuss QuickStart, a new USTA program to get kids interested in tennis. What is the key to your longevity? Tell the people out there how you played so long, so competitively.
Well, it's a whole bunch of things, but most of all genetics, because my body is lined up just right. So there's, the joints, there's nothing sticking out. So I never had really any joint trouble throughout my career. And I also worked at it. Of course, I was in the gym. I was doing track work. I played basketball. I really tried to be an all well-rounded athlete, and great coaching and eating right. Most of all, I think eating right, because we ask our bodies to perform miracles, but we don't give it good fuel. Have a high-performance car, you can't give it, 89 octane or something. You gotta give it 100%. I did that. I think in '81 I really started training hard with Nancy Lieberman and got a coach, Renee Richards, and started training, really working hard physically, and it paid off.
And no less than Billie Jean King, one of the greats of all time, called you the greatest all-around player of all time. How do you top that?
You don't. I don't have to. Somebody else needs to. I've done my share. No, I obviously you don't plan on having a Hall of Fame career when you first start playing. My goal was to win Wimbledon. I didn't even know there was a Hall of Fame, but you just do the best that you can every day. And I was lucky enough that my best was better than most on most days.
Now you're working with this new program, QuickStart, and it's National Tennis Month, May. Tell us a little bit about QuickStart.
Well, it's a format. It's a QuickStart tennis. It's aimed at kids ages like 6 to 10, so that the kids can play with smaller rackets on smaller courts with foam balls, so they don't fly away, and they can be successful right away, have a good time. And USTA has put this together. They've had it in Europe for years. In fact, Justine Henin and Kim Clijsters came through a program just like that. And we need more champions in America. Tennis has become so international, which is great for the rest of the world. But we're hurting right now because most of our top players, all the top players that are Americans, are over 25 years old. We don't have the next generation. We sort of have a generation gap. And try to plug it in, and I think QuickStart Tennis will help that, because the kids that start playing tennis now will want to stay with the game because they have fun.
If you're looking at all the women tennis players now, which one has caught your eye? Who could be the next Martina Navratilova?
Well, Justine Henin is there. She's number one, and she's a great all-around player, and I think the way she plays the game is more like I played it. She's also starting to come to the net more, but it's difficult now with the rackets, the equipment. It's much more difficult to be successful at the net. So you have to sort of harness that aggression and set up the point more before you can come to the net. But Justine is the player that I would pay to watch.
Now, I heard somewhere that you once drove a car on the Autobahn at over 200 miles an hour. Is that true?
It's true. I drove a Porsche 959. It was like, I don't know, about 88. A 959 Porsche from Stuttgart to Munich, and we did it in like 2 hours, averaged about 150 miles an hour. What's really fun is passing a cop car going about 160, and you don't have to slow down.
Because there are no speed limits on the Autobahn.
No speed limit. Well, some places there are, but most places there aren't, and back then there weren't as many cars. Now it's hard to do because there's so much more traffic, but when I had a finally really nice long piece of straightaway with no cars around, I pushed it and I went over 200. Yeah, that was fun.
What did it feel like?
Fast.
I mean, it had to be like a real rush.
Well, let's put it that way. When you drive that fast, you don't listen to the radio. You pay attention to the road.
Again, the great Martina Navratilova. I'm Forbes Adventurer Jim Clash. To read my column, pick up Forbes magazine or click on Forbes.com/adventurer. And thanks for watching the Forbes.com Video Network. Clash, James Clash.